We have a massive update on John Klingberg's injury and how does this affect the future of the Toronto Maple Leafs. We'll break all this down for you coming up on this episode of Hattrick HQ. But before we get into that, just want to say that 84.8% of you guys aren't subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, make sure to go down below, hit that subscribe button, become part of the community here because we'll be here all season long, keeping you up to date on what's happening around the NHL. But with that said, let's get right into the first topic of the video today, and that is Klingberg done for the season. And as we take a look here from Luke Fox, he says Brad Treliving tells reporters that John Klingberg will undergo season-ending hip surgery. Klingberg's $4.15 million salary will remain on LTIR, freeing money to go hunting for Demon in the trade market. And obviously, they did sign John Klingberg to that one-year deal here in Toronto. Like he just said, seen in his tweet, it was $4.15 million. Mark, it just sucks to hear about John Klingberg. Obviously, they're kind of keeping this under wraps for a little bit there, and now hearing the extent of his injury and hearing that he'll be done for the season, it just really sucks to see because he was kind of looking for a little bit of redemption here in the NHL, playing with the Leafs this year, and he never really got the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, the big thing is foremost is that Klingberg is done for the year, so this is terrible for him. I mean, when you do look at this as the Leafs perspective, I know there's a lot of talk around how bad Klingberg was playing. Obviously, his hips have been an issue, and this is ultimately why he had his surgery. But Klingberg was brought in to bring offense from the blue line. I know for the past year, maybe two, you could say that the Leafs really struggle to get production outside of Morgan Riley and some other guys here and there, but we never really had a guy that was going to be on the point to send shots from the point on the power play, 5-on-5. Klingberg was brought in for this. So the big thing is losing out on this opportunity to bring in a guy like Klingberg to fill this role. So it does leave Brad living in a weird spot of having to be able to fill this, and not having Klingberg is obviously a bad case because it was exactly what we needed in hindsight. But seeing him go down is tough for both parties, that is the Leafs and Klingberg, because like I said, he has been playing bad, but it's his hips. You can't blame a guy for being hurt and trying to play through it.
Yeah, definitely. And you could see he was trying to play through it, and eventually, he had to give it up. And you know how much it sucked for him to go to his home country and not be able to play. I mean, it really had to be bad for him to give up playing. And now we're seeing him going into surgery. So I really hope him the best. Really hope the surgery goes successful. Hope he can get back out on the ice and hopefully get a contract next year to come in and prove that he still belongs in the NHL. Because, like you said, Mark, he really did have a chance to redeem himself here this year in Toronto. Like you said, we haven't seen a guy in Toronto with that big of a cannon of a shot like Klingberg has in a long time, and we really wanted to see him in a full season in a Leafs uniform, and we unfortunately never got to see that. But I mean, we really hope the best for him. Really hope that this surgery goes well. Really hope the recovery isn't that long, and hope that he can get back out on the ice and get a contract next year. Because we really want to see him back out there. And who knows, you might see him back on the Leafs again next season. What do you think?
I think this is going to be a one and done chance of just giving him a go, because the big thing is we did bring him in. He ultimately didn't pan out. It was nice that we can clear up this 4 million, but I feel like if Brad Living did bring him back, fans would almost run at him with pitchforks because of just looking at his numbers, how he performed during the time because of the injury. So I don't think we'll ever see him in a Leafs uniform. I do think he does sign another contract next year with a team, because when you look at Klingberg as a whole, fully healthy, in his prime, this was a guy putting up 70 points for teams, running the number one power play, which we did want him to come in and do. But I think this was the last time we ever seen Klingberg in a Leafs jersey. But I mean, I hope him the best, and I do think he will be back.
Yeah, it really sucks to see him go out the way he did. But like I said here, we really hope him the best. Hope we see him again next year in the NHL and hope that his recovery goes good. But we're going to get into our next topic here, which is who will his replacement be? And I know we've speculated here on the channel that it may be Chris Tanev. Obviously, the Calgary Flames are shopping right now, and looks like Tanev might be the next to go. And as you know, you can pause the video and read this. I'm not going to read it all out, but basically what they say here is Tanev would be a great fit with Riley on that top pairing, and it would be more of a Mark Giordano vibe, an aging player but still effective in Toronto, and he's a Toronto native, so it'd be nice to see him come to his hometown team. And as you take a look at his stats here so far this season, he has 7 points in 25 games, but he also does have 63 blocks in 25 games, 10 hits, And Mark, as we know, this guy has been a great defensive defenseman during his career here in the NHL, and he's putting up block shots at a phenomenal rate this season. I really do think he would be a great fit here in this Toronto D pairings.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Him being a right-handed defenseman, a shutdown guy, that is pretty much what we need on this team. I mean, you look at Brody, he has been playing well. I know a lot of fans have not liked his game, but overall, I think Brody has been good. He would especially be good if you could slide him down the lineup, and I think this is where Chris Tanev would fit, where you could run a Morgan Riley, Chris Tanev, then you could run Brody, McCabe, you could run something in this kind of pairing on the second, and just work through it. The only concern with bringing in Tanev is, of course, the cap hit. We would have to figure that out. I know when Liljegren does come back, if you work the lines out to have an extra forward in Reeves or Bobby McMahon and still have a guy like Timmins, I believe they're only left with about 2.5 million cap space. So you would still need to figure out the cap. And the only other issue I would have with Tanev is the injury concerns. I know he's had a bit of injury scares through his career, but as a whole, if you just take him as a player, you don't look at the contract, you don't look at his age, anything like this is the perfect fit. I think this is a guy that can come in, like I said, be the number one penalty killer with a guy like Brody. You can play him on the top line. He can maybe get a bit of power play time in a pinch. I wouldn't want him to come in and be a number one, obviously, but he could be a number two, just add some defense and still a bit of passing from the point. But the big thing is, too, I could see Tanev being not just a rental, but a guy that could come back on maybe a 1, 2, or 3 year deal after the season. Like you said in this, his hometown is the Leafs. He lived in Ontario. This is a guy that could come home, play for his team, and sign an extension, which would look good for the next couple seasons.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you here. This is a great backup plan for Toronto now that they missed out on the Zadorov trade. Really do think you're getting great value in this guy. And like you said, there is a bit of an issue with the cap here. As you take a look at his contract, it is $4.5 million just this season. He is expiring after this year. So maybe it's a guy you bring in for this season, pay him that 4.5. Maybe he takes a little hometown cut next season and extends for maybe 2 to 3 more years. But I really do think that this guy is going to be a great fit here with this defensive pairings. If Toronto does trade for him, because I really do think he could easily play top line minutes. He could easily fit in on the penalty kill, like you said. He's just a great defensive defender. May not be as physical as a guy like Zadorov, but I really do think this is a guy you need to be successful. A guy who's going to shut it down on the back end, and a guy that Toronto could really use right now.
Yeah, the big thing I know I talked about in a recent video is this is a guy that's going to put his body on the line. I mean, we've seen it just about a week ago where he blocked a shot with his face. He continued playing. This is your stereotypical playoff guy. He's going to be physical, clear the net, play great defense. And I think paired with a guy like Riley, which I think this is his best two-way season I've ever seen from him, pairing them together would look like a legitimate contending top line. Then, like I said, you have so many options to work with behind them in the other pairings. So I think going after Tanev would be a bigger deal than Sidorov, as Tanev would be more of a well-rounded player. Sidorov is what we need in a physical guy that's going to throw hits around. But I think Tanev is a must-add. I know Treliving's been looking at him. He signed him to this contract when he was with Calgary as well. So this is Treliving's guy. This is the guy he likes, and I think he is the perfect fit for Toronto.
Yeah, I definitely had to agree with you. I really like the way this guy plays. Really do think that he fit in good here with Toronto. So I really hope that we get to see this deal happen. I know we were heavy on the Zadorov. We really did think he was coming to Toronto, but I really do think that this is a great backup plan, a great guy who you can extend through next year, and a guy who will want to play for this team, being in his hometown team. But we're going to get into everybody's favorite topic here, and that is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to our boy Daniel. Shout out to you, Daniel. Thanks for your support. Day one supporter here on the channel. He says, love him, Fraserman and Easton Cowan. Congrats to them both. I hope they make Team Canada. Now let's hope the organization lets them both grow and not trade them. It's a mess in Calgary. We will see if they are sellers soon, I think. Nice to see both Casey and Mark back. Great videos as always. Shout out to you, Daniel. Obviously, we love your support down there in the comment section. We see you down there every day, so thank you for your support. And thanks for everybody who supports the channel. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to go down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 3,000 subscribers, so please go down, hit that subscribe button. Also, while you're down there, leave a comment down below. What do you think about this whole Klingberg situation? And do you think Chris Tanev would be a great fit here in Toronto? Let us know. But if you enjoy the NHL, make sure to check out this video that's popping up on your screen right now. But in saying that, I've been your host, Casey, alongside my co-host, Mark Pye. Keep your stick on the ice.